can you tell us about the project you've got going on and what do you think is in your future now?
Sure. The first project is called John From. I like to say it's a psychedelic death metal band, sort of like Bad Trip kind of stuff. I mean, I think it appeals to most fans of sort of old schoolish death metal, but it's got like a kind of progressive side to it, and it's also sort of improvisational and also very mean, I guess. You know, most of the responses that I hear from people are just like, man, this is really like just mean, you know, and just kind of I don't want to say angry, but just heavy. So that'll be out on Relapse. We actually, probably by the time this comes out, I guess, it will be announced in essentially a week from today is when we make the official announcement. So there's that. I have a lot of big psychedelic, daydreamy ideas about what that should be and what, some of the things that Dillinger never really touched on, or some of the things that I think most metal bands overlook or ignore or shy away from. I obviously have my own unique view of the world, and I'm hoping to kind of address some of that. Specifically more, I don't want to say theatric, but a little bit more, just something about the production needs to be different. I don't know. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
For now. Essentially, I'm an art school dropout, and I have a lot of other ideas that I think overlap with music that aren't about music. I really want to kind of take something out of the, Sun Ra, or kind of just elevate it to a more mystical, for lack of a better term, area. So there's that. I also have another band called Azusa that features two members of a Norwegian metal band called Extol and a female singer from Germany who is in a band called Sea and Air. Progressive, thrashy, sort of piss and vinegary kind of stuff, but it has like a very, it almost doesn't make sense until you hear it, but a 70s-ish prog sensibility. And Alani is quite a good singer, and there's some really cool, almost Joni Mitchell-ish sections of that. I don't know if you're familiar with the Danish band Mirker.
Yeah, of course.
I filled in with Mirker in the U.S. For 2 weeks. I actually just had coffee with Amelie.
Nice.
And I learned a lot from having a female energy on stage, and I thought that was really fresh, for lack of a better term. So I'm excited about the Azusa thing because I think, on top of all the other things I'm excited about in regards to that, the female energy part is it keeps it fresh and different for me. Both records are fully tracked. The John From record is, like I said, will probably be released by early summer. The Azusa stuff is also tracked but unmixed, no label as we speak. Officially, fishing for that kind of stuff. So again, I'm not sure at what stage that will be by the time this comes out, but stay tuned.
So you're gonna still be in music, mainly, or only?
I don't know. I think again, I we'll see what the muse has to say about that. I also, in the last 2 years, I've become a father. And I really, I love that. there is not a crowd big enough. There's not applause loud enough to make me feel as happy as like hearing her laugh. So there's absolutely a part of me that is really looking forward to having some more time to be home during these very exciting formative years. I spent almost the first year of her life home writing these 3 records, and writing my parts to all this stuff. So I had a great experience that most dads, at least in the US, don't get. I essentially had paternity leave, and now just had this really great bond. It gets me choked up even like talking about it. So I'm excited about that. And I'm also scared because it's like, hey, this is how I buy the diapers. And those other bands, as cool as they are not going to be automatically here. So there's a bit of kind of appropriate fright and anxiety there. But I'm not really too concerned. If I'm home, then I get to spend time with her. If I'm on the road, it's difficult, but I also feel like I'm setting a different kind of example and saying, hey, when you're old enough to chase your dreams, I'll be there to help. Because that's what I've done, and I want her to have that view, or that kind of, that attitude. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm also a art school dropout, so I have a lot of unfinished business. I was a woodworker, and I started working at a wood shop again in like spring, summer, before this really started. While Dissociation was getting ready to come out in that kind of lead-in time, I went to work a couple days a week in a wood shop, and just to get my hands dirty. I just really, it's just something I felt like I needed to. I don't know if confront is the right word, but kind of, reintroduce myself to. I think I have too many ideas of what I could do. I have, and maybe an excessive amount of hubris in terms of what I could do. Whether it's, interests including yoga and, woodworking, or, maybe I'd get into tattoos because I really like drawing, and it's not something I've had a lot of time for recently. So any of that kind of stuff is on the table. I hope my phone rings and says, hey, we've got a place for you here. What about this opportunity? I've had a lot of other friends even say, we don't have to talk about it now. But I have some ideas, and when all this slows down, let's have a conversation. So all of that stuff is on the table. The only thing I know is that I don't want to make that decision now. In the same way that I thought parenting would be a certain way. I thought I would feel a certain way. I thought it would be like this. And it's everything that everybody said it would be, but it's nothing like I expected. And one of the best pieces of advice I had through that was, you're going to be a totally different person, the second she comes out. We didn't know the gender, but, and it was very, very true. And I feel like I can apply that to this too, where I can only imagine how I'm going to feel. And I'm probably wrong, or probably only, 15% right. So I'm going to wait until I get there, spend some time licking my wounds, because we all have them. It took me 17 years to get this deep. It might take me, 34 to get back out. I don't know. I just know that I don't know. So